Boston. Let's head to the center right now. Check in with the man, Kyle Neubeck. You can read his piece again at allphly.com. The good, the bad, the ugly, the recap of tonight's game. Kyle, a close one here tonight. A chance there. At first in the first quarter, looked like Orlando was really going to run away with this one. But the Sixers, which they have been doing as of late, fighting back. And they got back into the game, really made it, took a lead eventually. But in the fourth quarter, just some things continued to get away with the offensive rebounds and some bad decision-making, lack of shooting from Tyrese Maxey, which we talked about a little bit earlier, that led to this loss here to the Magic.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to note that Derek is sitting up here. He's acting very pensive on the side and saying, yeah, maybe I'll check in and say something if I feel obligated to at some point. So hello to Derek as well. Yeah, I think that the two things that jump out at me from this game, one, Orlando just being bigger and more athletic, basically all over the floor all night. And they did okay at stopping that from being too much of an advantage in the middle quarters. But first quarter killed them. Fourth quarter killed them. Like the offensive glass battles. And then, when they're playing zone for decent stretches of the game, that is the one thing you're susceptible to, right? It is offensive rebounding a lot of the time. So not a huge shock that it ended up punishing them, but that was a big part of the game. And then the other thing, Tyrese Maxey, just not good enough, right? And certainly the 0 for 7, I would say more. I know it's a contentious thing in the chat and on the show tonight. I wouldn't 0 for 7. I'd take away one of those because of he's trying to draw a foul at the end. And I think Anthony Black slapped down and probably could have been called for a foul there. But I think the disappointing thing for me with Maxey, just in the macro, is that I can think of very few games, even the good games, that have been wire to wire. Oh, that's a good Maxey game, right? Even when he's had good performances, like the Indiana game, great example. He stunk it up that first half in that game. Now it has an amazing quarter and a half in overtime, but the consistency just has not been there in almost any game this season. And he just goes through these long stretches where, yes, he's getting blitzed and yes, he's getting double teamed tonight, but he's giving the ball away with dumb turnovers. And I think the most dispiriting thing for me in year 5 is not that he shot 0 for 7 from 3. It's not that he's struggling to score in the paint when teams are loading up on him at the rim. It's that he doesn't seem to have a counter to any of this. And for a guy who had a pretty extensive runner floater package when he came into the league, it doesn't look like the process is there to get into mid-range stuff, right? Like to beat a closeout and it's just like 1-2 dribble, free throw line pull up, bang. Like he has the touch and he has the skill to make that a big part of his game. And I'm not saying I want him to play like DeMar DeRozan, right? But so many times he's beaten a defender. He gets to within 8 to 10 feet. He gets a little skittish about what's at the rim. And then he just does a 180 and turns around and brings the ball back out to the perimeter. And they've wasted 10 to 12 seconds of the shot clock. So that is where I think you can see the limitations in his game and his process, where whether it's the handle, whether it's that, the mid-range mechanics, right, of just getting into the rhythm of 1-2, rise up, shoot, whatever it is, I haven't seen any progress there. And I think that's a big reason that he's struggling as much as he is right now.
Kyle, on a positive note, because I'm going to lay off the Maxey talk because that's enough for me tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.